Hey, we're back. The back to school edition. Back to school edition of I'm just saying, but not just the back to school edition. We got stuff going on in Jacksonville, Florida. That AR-15 weaponry from a European amongst our African residents and citizens. We've got this stuff going on down in Georgia that we're going to hear from my man Bruce about. And we've got Deon coming to Colorado. They say he's going to have a 400-pound buffalo running in to the stadium. That's what's coming up on I'm Just Saying. Stay with us.
What up?
Yeah. I see that shirt. I don't know if anybody's going to understand what that shirt's going to say, unless at the bottom on the back it says, we're doing figure eights. They might know then.
No, it don't say that. It just has M10 on it. That's all.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you're just checking us out, Bruce has on a shirt, we on the lodge. Now the lodge last year and recently they've kind of curtailed some of that behavior, but guys were stopping on the lodge. People were stopping on the lodge and watching folks do figure eights on the lodge.
On the freeway.
And on the freeway. So this is an interstate for us all, or at least an expressway, and they were doing those things. But yeah, M10 is what it was. But hey, let's jump into this Georgia stuff. And I want Bruce to take us back to where it has been and what is currently happening, because you posted something to us today in our thread about this young lady who was quite emotional about what is happening down there in Georgia. Also fill us in on the Trump surrendering. He surrendered himself. What is all of this meaning? Why so much attention is being brought to this? And then we're going to talk about Deon Sanders, who's making his coaching debut with a Power 5 school. Colorado hasn't been good the last few years, but they are one of the top schools in the NCAA, and he's making his debut. He and his son Shador, who's the starting quarterback for the Colorado Buffaloes. And we've got a homeboy here, Marvin Ham II, just this week. He'll be starting at linebacker. He's a junior down there, and we're happy for him as well as he continues to do that. But let's jump into this. Let's jump into Georgia. We're going to talk about Jacksonville as well. Bruce, take us. What has happened? What's going on in Georgia as it relates to the election, the former election, not the current one, the former election, and our former president. Help us out, please.
Yeah. So the Georgia thing is relatively simple. It's been all over the news for the last 2 years. We know that in the aftermath of the 2020 election, Donald Trump was doing all kind of shenanigans in Georgia. He was calling the Secretary of State, asked him to find him votes. Trump calls it a perfect call or whatever. But he was this week he was booked on charges about the Georgia election scheme. So he was not only trying to get votes from the Secretary of State, they also there's a fake elector scandal as well. All this stuff is under this RICO charge from Fonnie Willis, Howard University grad.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. And she just indicted 19 people, and he's at the top of the list. And so again, not only was he trying to, you
Jason, can
know,
we get a picture of Farney? Is it possible to get a picture of Farney? I want to. Okay, thank you. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Bruce, for sure.
so not only did she, get him on, trying to rig the election and, basically cancel all the votes that came out of Atlanta and the metro Atlanta area, which are Black people.
Mm-hmm.
He also was trying to act like he won the state and put the electors that had he won the state, he was getting electors. It's a whole process, but there are electors that have to go through. When you vote, you don't necessarily vote for the person, you're voting for the electors to elect the person. So it's a little weird, but he was trying to get fake electors to act like he had won the vote. And when those electors showed up, it was a fraud. It was all a conspiracy. It was all basically another type of coup. And then after he does all this, then January 6th happens. So there's like 3 different things that this guy was trying to do to win the election. And that's what's happening now.
Okay.
And this is the guy who's leading in the Republican polls. He has now 4 indictments, felony indictments, and he is leading the polls by 40, 50 points.
Are these allegations, are these indictments, Bruce, are they punishable for jail?
All of them do carry time. I'm not, different charges carry different amounts of time. What makes the Georgia case so significant, though, is it's a state case, which means if he is convicted, he cannot get pardoned by a president. He can't even get pardoned by the governor of the state. He has to do time. He has to do time. And, depending on how many charges he gets and all that kind of stuff, we'll see how much time, if he gets convicted, what he'll get.
Is that just in your humble, the acumen that you have with this case? Is he going to jail? Would, if convicted, would he go to jail? I mean, and I say that loosely because I mean I've never seen it. Richard Nixon, we were kids and very little when he resigned, when the impeachment was about to take place, but he resigned.
Right.
I've never seen a president go to jail. I've seen a president booked in this case. But do you think he'll go to jail for his involvement in all of these things?
So I think it's important to remember that when Richard Nixon did resign, and because he resigned, people then knew. I mean, it was basically a foregone conclusion that he knew he was guilty. Everybody knew he was guilty. Trump will not admit guilt because his pride is too much. So he won't admit guilt. He will say he did everything right, nothing went wrong. And I just don't think that a jury of his peers is going to believe that. I really don't. So I think he's going to get convicted. I think if he had more, if he was a better person and not as conceited as he is, if he just said, my bad, I didn't, whatever, I don't think these charges would even come. Personally.
Now when you
go ahead.
When you talk of a jury of his peers, that means that this is going to go to trial type situation.
This is going to trial.
Okay, that means that if it goes to trial, you're believing that these jurors will say absolutely not. You were wrong, whatever, 100%, 90%, and we find you guilty of these particular things. That's one thing, convicted of it or guilty of these. The
Mhm.
question is, will he go to jail?
If he's convicted, after all the appeals and all that kind of stuff, if it stands after appeals and all that kind of stuff, he's going to do everything he can to not go to jail. But if all that stays and he's convicted and the conviction stands, he's going to jail. He's going to do time.
Man,
I know
I,
it's
I,
hard to believe. It's hard to believe because he's gotten away with all kind of stuff in the past, and it's hard for me to even say. But if he's convicted and the appeals don't work, the man is going to do time, and he should do
I
time.
took, now I take you back to our former mayor here in the city of Detroit, Kwame Kilpatrick, and we
Who
were
did
thinking, I was thinking, there's there's no possible. I mean, even though what we said that you had done, the racketeering charges and everything, I didn't believe that he would
time.
do that. Now, obviously, Kwame is out now, but we talking about a black mayor, black man.
Mhm. Mhm.
You said um, Bruce Turner, are saying that our former president, a European person, former president of the United States, is going to do time.
I think he's going to do
Oh,
time. I think he's going to do time, and I know how weird that sounds for me to even say that. And I know I understand I understand where you're coming from. I get that sentiment, but Fonnie Willis is not playing with this dude. And so if he had if there was a white male uh, person in Georgia, I don't know if they bring charges. She did, and if it was a white person, maybe they'd be trying to give him some kind of deal. She's not. She's not trying to give him no deal. I don't think so. I think she's trying to get him. She's done this. She's been going through this case and finding all this evidence for the last 2 years. The lady is ready to go. She said during her press conference, I want all 19 of them at the same time. She know her case back and forth. We've all heard the call. We all know what he was doing. There's no question it's illegal. It was fraudulent. It is worth these RICO charges. And she's going to get him. And if she does, he's going to jail. And this is going to be a great day. It'll be a great day.
I don't know if America is ready for that, because I'm saying I don't know if America is ready for that, and here's why from this standpoint.
Yeah, when you say America, do you mean white America?
Absolutely. Then there we are. See, because sure, black we want, and he's gonna do. See, I'll go back to this. OJ, did white America want him to go to jail?
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, because you allegedly killed these two people.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen. The black man didn't go to jail. So I'm thinking, if the black man ain't going to jail and y'all wanted him to go to jail, what makes we think that the white man, who we see all the evidence against,
Mm-hmm.
he gonna go to jail? And he's the president, and he was the president of the United States of America.
So yeah, I think OJ is a little different.
I mean, Trump didn't murder anybody. Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
or
it's a little bit different. There was all kind of racial stuff involved, and there's racial stuff in this too.
sure.
But I just don't think this is
Maybe
not
we
this is
need to
not
pull
the same case. I think black people didn't want OJ to go to jail based on not what he did or didn't do. It was based on the notion that black people always get the rough end of the stick.
Sure. And are you saying then that we as a black people now are saying, with this district attorney, that's we're talking about in Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
we coming for you all? And does white America know that? That, oh, you all think you got us? And she says, I want all 19 of them. So you
Yeah, and
think you believe that you've got enough because that's what an indictment is. An indictment means that you have enough evidence. You
mhm.
believe that you have enough evidence to bring to bring charges against this person.
Yes, it's over. Isn't it? It's over 30 charges in this RICO case. And from
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but from what I heard, all she has to do, she doesn't have to prove all of them. She just has to prove two of them. And if she proves two of them, that's it. He's done. Which is why she brought RICO charges. It's all, yes, she knows what she's doing. And I think if she gets him and the jury says that he's guilty, he done messed up. And he's supposed to go to jail. Now, I'm like you. I said when Trump got elected, this is in 2016. I said, or yes, 2016 when he got elected, I said, this man is not going to last 4 years. He's going to be in jail before his time is up. That's what I said. That was 2016. He did all kind of stuff we can't even name. He did all types of stuff, illegal stuff, all of it. And we've been at this all this time been like, well, if that's not a crime, nothing's a crime. We've been saying this over from the 2016 election when Russia was involved, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
To hear now that this man now has 4 indictments, it's hard to believe. 4 felony indictments is hard. It's hard to believe that, but that's true. All of these cases seem to be pretty open and shut. They might be, more difficult than some might be more difficult than others. This one doesn't seem difficult. So
Coco God.
I think he's gone. Personally, I do. I think it's going to take some more time, but I think she's got him. I think he knows that she's got him, and he can't admit it now because it's a black woman, and his ego won't allow it to like work out a deal or whatever. He will not admit his guilt, so he's gonna go down. Period.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here first. The court correspondent and Bruce Turner believes that Donald Trump will go to jail based on the charges that are being brought against him from the state of Georgia. Um, Not a federal case; it's a state case,
Great case.
and we are going to continue to follow. We're going to continue to follow that. That's a very interesting one, and we'll keep you all informed on that. Let's go a little lighter, and then we'll jump back to something that horrific happened within the last week. This week, Bruce, Deon Sanders is making his coaching debut in NCAA college football. Colorado Buffaloes went 1-11 last year. Deon went 28-2 at Jackson State over at Jackson State over 3 seasons. Yeah, and it's major. I want to talk a little bit two things. First, what are your thoughts on him going there? And then the second thing, there's an NIL thing coming up that's ever so present in college sports that is soiling our interests and the rivalries and things like that because they're finding that college players are getting paid, which I don't mind them getting paid, but now they're getting paid some more things. But first, take me to what do you think about Deon making his NCAA Division One debut?
I'm into it. I'm gonna be interested to see how the team does. I don't know if I would call myself a fan of Deon. I think it's it's nice. It's cool. As far as him being there, like I said, I'm fine with it. That's what he wants to do. I think all along it was a setup. Really, he wanted to go somewhere where he could get some experience, show what he can do, and then
Mm-hmm.
move to a Power Five. And that's how things should be. I mean, if that's what you want to do. I understand the critique of Deon, considering when he came, he was saying that he, you know, didn't want to leave. All he wanted to do
That's right. That's right.
was
That's right.
be at Jackson State, and I want to help these
Yeah.
players and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And so I understand the critique when he comes in with under that auspices. So I get it. But maybe you can't say with what your future plans are when you come
Yeah.
and join a college team. It's your first coaching gig, so maybe you can't do that. So again, all this stuff is politics, and how stuff happens, and what you have to present to everyone else, people who are going to give you a job, and then you
Mm-hmm.
trying to go get another job. I mean, I
Yeah. Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to hold it
I
against
think
them.
okay, because some have said um, that was your move from the very beginning. I mean, you came to Jackson State, and it was, and I'm a firm believer that things change. I mean, when I
Yeah,
got here, when I got here, that was my purpose, and he specifically said that God brought him to Jackson State. It appears that Deon's a pretty spiritual person, if you will, a religious person, and he speaks on these things. Um, but I tend to believe that I don't know if Deon could have continued with the system of HBCU football, and that's football, basketball, whatever. Our schools and he went to Florida State University
right. Yep.
in Tallahassee, so he understands from a facility standpoint. There was only so much that Deon was going to be able to do. They were
Hmm.
they were giving him HBCU money, a little over HBCU money, but definitely wasn't making D1 Power Five money.
Yeah.
And I believe that he only could get, and probably this year Jackson State is going to still reap some of the benefits and the remnants of Deon being at Jackson State. I think they're still getting that, but it seems like there's a wall that seems to be hit as it relates to monies, facilities. I just don't think, and Deon has spoken about that. He's spoken about, like, why can't we have? I mean, Ole Miss is right up the street from us, and that
Yeah.
facility up there it pales.
Yes.
Our facility pales in comparison, and that's one of your public universities. We're a public university as well, but we're a black public university, and
Yeah.
I'm not particularly. I believe when his time came and the opportunity came. I don't know. He hasn't spoken about who else was looking at him, but
Hmm.
Colorado came. The offer was made. Um, they said he's already taken about 88 people with him, 88 players. Just recently, his offensive lineman, one of his offensive linemen that came to him in the transfer portal to Jackson State, just told him this week recently that he won't be able to play until next season, because they're talking about you can't be transferring 2 times in 2 years. You came in the portal, and now Deon's gone, and you're going with him again. So the NCAA says you can't play until next year because of your two portals or two transfers
Right.
to two different schools at that. So yeah, I I'm interested to see when some adversity comes.
Yeah.
Um,
That's going to be, it is going to be interesting, because I don't think it's not going to be as easy winning, in these Power Five conferences. I don't expect him to go 1-11 or whatever he did
yeah,
last
yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah.
But I don't know about them winning the league and all that kind of stuff.
Sure,
I
sure.
I, I assume they'll be more competitive and all that, and that's all good. It's going to be fun to watch. And to be honest, if he does well here, this ain't his last stop either. He out of there.
Well, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's already
Yeah.
proven. Like what he wants to do. He wants to move up in the ranks, and that's fine. I'm all good with that. Just be truthful and honest. When you do it, I get it. We
Okay.
all do it.
Okay.
It's capitalism. It is what it is. Just be truthful
Yeah.
with the people.
Yeah. Not in the perfect segue. This NIL, name, image, and likeness. We can probably thank Ed O'Bannon back in '95 when he was at UCLA and he brought charges or
It was
brought
him and
a
his brother, wasn't
case.
it?
Ed, was it Ed?
And Charles O'Bannon. I thought it was
Both,
both of them.
both of them. Yeah,
Both the
yeah.
O'Bannon
Ed was
brothers.
really right. Was really. I thought he was one of the spearheads of it. That
He
if
was.
you haven't heard, yeah, if you haven't heard about this, those that are listening, um, back in the '90s, mid '90s, they were there at UCLA, but the EA Sports, or was it Madden, came out with a college game, college basketball with people's name on the backs.
Yeah.
So it'd be Turner, it'd be Cooper on the back, and you're playing, but you weren't getting a dime from it. So
Right.
he won a case some years later, which brought about college athletes being paid.
Mm-hmm.
Just recently, they're talking about the NIL that uh, Caleb Williams, USC's starting quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner last year. This year, he's trying to go back to back, first time since Archie Griffin in '74 and '75, is saying that he's making more NIL money than some quarterbacks. Now, not Patrick Mahomes, who's making
Right.
46, 50 million, but you're talking about your lower level or
Mm-hmm.
even second and third string quarterbacks on teams. He's in college, not a professional athlete, and he's making more money. Is that not, is it possible, but is it fair? Uh, is it fair? Because they've opened this barn has left, this horse has left the barn as far as college athletes being paid. But what do you think of that for the soccer team? You've got a son that plays college athletics. He's in college athletics at soccer. And if he got an NIL deal that was, I won't even put, what's the guy that has scored 6, 7 goals in his first? Messi?
From a Messi, yeah.
Yeah. Messi would it be crazy if he was making that type of money and not in college? What do you think of that?
I don't. Again, I'm in these sports conversations. I'm typically on the side of players.
Okay.
So I understand. The little I understand. I get the whole NIL thing, and I don't. When you say fair, my first question is fair to whom? Now,
Sure.
fair to the athlete, yes, I think it is fair. If you saying is it fair to the other athletes on his team who aren't getting any NIL money? Probably not. It's probably not fair. It should be cut some way so everybody kind of reaps.
Cut.
But it is.
My
But
money,
it is.
my money cut, or
But
my money cut, or just okay.
It is name, image, and likeness, and that's individual. So I get that too. But maybe I'm talking about as far as the money for the program. Maybe that should be split to where some of the people who are not major people on the team get some cut of that too. I remember, like part of the when the Fab Five was around, and they talked about how they didn't have money like for pizza.
Sure.
Stuff like that. So yes, they would have, if they were now, they would get, Jalen Rose would be getting NIL money. Chris Webber would be getting NIL money. Juwan Howard. But what about the other dudes on the team?
Mike Talley or whatever. Yeah, those that are
Michael
ninth
Talley
and 10th man.
Palinka. Do they get any money from that? Mm-hmm. So I think I know this is controversial, but I think all the people on the team should be getting some type of money so they don't have to struggle in college. Now the question becomes: my son, did play soccer. Soccer teams are not revenue generating teams.
Sports. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're not right. So the tennis team, do they supposed to get money too? Does the bowling team get money? Does the golf
Mm-hmm.
team get money? You know what I'm saying? You then all this other stuff comes out. I think that was part of the reason why it took NIL so long, because there were always these negatives about, well, if we pay them, how can we not pay them? We gotta pay, we gotta pay everybody. And I think it kind of got around that with this name, image, and likeness. I still think that's an issue moving forward. I remember the Northwestern team, I want to say it was a few years ago, tried to unionize or something. It was something like
Yeah.
they tried to unionize or something, to get a better split of the monies. I was in college, you were too. Don't you want to get some pizza, take your girl out, buy a new pair, whatever?
Something. Exactly.
And these teams this is hard work. These guys, they sometimes it's 2-a-day practices.
Yeah.
I get the idea that they want to get paid. I get that.
They spoke about a remedy, a possible remedy, and this hasn't gone anywhere but on sports talk radio or things like that. Just a caller called in and said, if you were to pay a student athlete, $40,000.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you were giving them $40,000 a year, if you're going to be here 4 years, but you sign up for that 40,000, you're talking about now 40 times 4, we're talking about $160,000 in your 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
If we were getting $40,000 a year when we were in school, that would be fine. That's enough for pizza. I can take you out. I can come home. I mean, it's now I've got, I could buy a car. Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, I could pay a car note if that's what I want to do.
That's
Yeah,
what I mean.
$40,000 is fine. Now you're talking about your Caleb Williams. Should he be getting 40,000, or are we just gonna make this equitable? Everybody's gonna make $40,000.
Yeah, so the name, image, and likeness thing I like, because it's specific to like certain sponsorships that person has. I get that. So the company is hiring you to be a pitch man for them.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's because of the platform that you have. That's because you play well. You're you're a high NFL or NBA or Major League Baseball prospect. I get that. And you come with eyes for my product. So I will pay you an advertising budget that I have. I get that. And I think that's fine. So I just think maybe not even 40,000, but even if it was 20,000, even if it was 10,000 a year for the players on the team.
That's more like a stipend, Bruce. 10 grand. That's a stipend.
If you got 10 grand a year or 10 grand a semester, free and clear of your school.
Sure.
Board, am I saying you have to pay?
Okay, you about right. You about right. Yeah. I mean, 10 grand.
I think that's fine. I think that's fair for revenue producing sports teams who are on that. I think that's fine. And then if you can, I know. Maybe
so swimming. So swimming. Could swimming and golf? Because I mean, could do I get 10 grand for golf too, or swimming?
Maybe it should be based on how much money how much money the team is generating. So maybe it'd be based on that. I don't know. Oh, I saw that too, Jason.
Yeah, I saw this today. I saw this. Yeah. See, I saw that.
You talked about Shedeur Sanders. He's making big time money.
Yeah.
Angel Reese out of LSU. She said that she was making more money than some of these WNBA players. So why would she go to the WNBA? Well, so what's the point of her doing that? And she's right. There's no point in her messing this money up. Get this money, stay in college, get your degree, and then go. I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I think that's
if
good.
if you choose to, if you want to do that. So
Yes.
so it's about the NIL, name, image, and likeness. It really is about money. There it is. Yeah. Is this
Yes.
about money? This
It's
can't be about. It's not about. And they were talking about this. Rico was and Mike Valeni, one of your fans. Don't that it's not about the school any longer. It's about me making money. I don't care nothing about University of Michigan. I make $1 million a year as a sophomore.
mm-hmm.
I'm making $1 million. I mean, Ford Motor Company is paying me, or Pontiac, or hey, I mean, Brothers Pizza, whatever is
Yeah.
paying me. What do I need? I ain't worried about the
I
Ohio
don't,
State
so,
game.
yeah, but that's what. But so this is where I have issues with like Mike Valeni and people like that. Why even bring that up? Why even bring up the fact, well, you're not here for the school? Dude, these schools are making all kinds of money. They're getting broke off with these advertising deals and all the stuff that they
Oh
have.
man.
I don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
hear you now. You have a problem with the sport because I'm gonna make some money. No, I don't want to
Mm.
hear that.
Wow,
You don't
wow.
have no problem with all these
What?
schools making all this money, but you got a problem with me getting my name, image, and likeness money? No,
No.
I don't want
Now,
to hear
as
that.
he argued, he said, "I'm not arguing that I want you to get paid, but it lessens, it cheapens the game. Now you're not.
Fine,
You're
then the whole game is cheap. Then everybody's cheap. Do you say that about the NFL players? Is the game cheaper because
totally
the
pro
quarterback?
players, pro
Why?
players, them pro players.
What's the difference? It's about
I'm
the
not
it's
a pro
about the
player.
money.
I mean, I'm an amateur. These are amateur sports.
But
You
they're
can't
not
be
amateur.
making stuff.
They're not amateur sports.
I mean,
It's
well,
all so,
because
again, the word amateur, when he uses it, he's using the word amateur to and he's weaponizing the word amateur to make it so that they don't deserve money when those leagues and those schools are getting broke off. So he don't have a problem with these schools and the coaches making all this money. But now when I make the money, now all of a sudden, because I'm making it, it's cheapening something. The whole game has been cheap. These coaches leave when they feel like leaving.
yes,
Uh,
sir. Yes, and they talked
these
about that. Yes.
schools get these advertising deals, for however much money they can. They're not
Oh yeah.
helping the students. They're just, filling their own pockets. And then you wonder why at a Jackson State, he can't get paid real money because those schools don't get that kind of money.
Hmm.
They don't get that. They don't get those deals. Hopefully, over time, NIL, hopefully what he says is right. So this is the argument I think he's making. Hopefully over time, the NIL will make it so it doesn't matter what school you go to. If you're a highly recruited athlete, you're going to
Yeah.
get money no matter where you go. And what that does is equalizes now the playing field between a Jackson State and a Michigan State. And now if you can equalize that, the Michigan State is losing its power now because they're not as lucrative now. Now Jackson State is getting all the players. So it's
Sure.
it's all about when he's saying it cheapens the game, he's saying that the Power Fives are no longer going to be kings of the hill. And that's okay with me. That's okay with me. So again, this stuff is political, Coop.
Yes, it is.
It's political. Even the words he's using, how he weaponizes certain words to make it so that you're doing something wrong when everybody else along the spectrum has been doing the same thing and you didn't have no problems with that. Now the black athletes or athletes period
are coming up.
democratized system, and now I get to partake in this, and then I have more free will to go where I want to go. Now the game is cheapened. Get out of here with that.
Tommy Tuberville. I think he used to be in NCAA. Thought he used to be a coach somewhere. He's a talking about he's regular.
Clemson or something crazy.
Yeah, yeah, regulating.
He's one of these right wingers right now. He's in Senate right now as a Republican, and he's complaining about NIL to regulate names. Come on, man. Yeah, this is all political.
He wants to regulate, and see whenever you start hearing regulate, I believe whenever you start hearing the word regulate, that means, black folks are gonna start making more money.
Yes,
I believe that.
In this instance, that's what regulate means. If you listen to the whole overall Republican mantra, they don't want regulation on businesses. They don't want it because they control business and they want to make as much money as they want to unfettered. So they only believe in regulation when it has to do with equalizing the money with black people. When it's not, when they have control and they keep control, they don't want no regulation. This is why.
So NIL would be a regulatory thing for them.
They want to regulate it so that they don't lose control. Yes. Now they want regulation. But they're Fortune 500 companies. They don't want no regulation. They don't want you to have to regulate the pollution they put in the air. They don't want you to regulate how they get rid of their garbage. They don't want to regulate how much money people getting paid. That's why they're against what's the shoot? I forget what you be calling stuff. Minimum wage. They want to regulate that. They want to make sure that you don't get $20 an hour, $25 an hour. They don't want unions. You see what I'm saying? It's all a game for them. And they only say that they believe in stuff when it benefits them. When it doesn't, no, we don't want it no more.
Okay. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'm going to shift back and with our last couple minutes on this. I was talking to a friend today, this Jacksonville situation, and they showed the footage of it. The 21-year-old, I think he was 21, went into the restaurant, I think the store with an AR-15 and said the first black person he sees, he was going to kill them, killed 3, and then turned the gun on himself.
Yeah, once he barricaded himself in and knew that they were coming to get him, barricaded himself and then shot himself. Yep. Now, it's you're right. It's hard to take, Coop. I heard a guy on MSNBC today say it feels like black people are being hunted.
Man,
and Ben, we've been
hunted.
Yes, that's crazy to think about. Did you know that this guy, before he went into the dollar store, he went to a very small black college first, and I think he was approached by security or whatever, and he backed out in the parking lot, got back in his car and left. So he was about to do that at a black college. That's what he was about to do first. Then he went to the Dollar Tree and shot up people. It's wild. But what's wild, and as wild as that is, and that's wild. What's wilder to me is that this guy, Ron DeSantis, went down there and tried to act like he was sympathetic with the black people down there. This is the same governor talking about there's a war on wokeness.
Mm-hmm.
Wokeness is a term that people use because wokeness is about black people. So you have a war on black people. That's what he said. Then he goes down there. He's the same guy who is over the we talked about this too. The AP Black History classes
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in high school, and he wants to get rid of them. And then he started to want to teach that black people actually basically got money for their skills after slavery was over.
Benefited.
He's the same. This is the same guy. So he's been claiming war on wokeness all this time. Well, wokeness comes to die. He like ends his speeches with that. He gets rid of AP history, African American history. He tries to change, how they're going to teach it and all that kind of stuff. And when he went to this thing right here, he got booed by all the black people who were around. And see,
right.
and he only came here for the publicity, really. Trying to act like he's sympathetic to black people. When we've heard your rhetoric, we've heard your rhetoric, we know what you're about. So you can't come here and then act like everything's fine. Everything's not fine.
That's right.
The reason why the shooting happened is because of people like you and the rhetoric that you spout.
Mm-hmm.
The deaths are on his hands.
That's right. That's right. I don't know, when they start talking about it feels as if black people are being hunted. I felt that for my 54 years that I began knowing. It's not even a question. The question is, how do we defend ourselves in these types of situations? You're talking about a dollar store, Bruce.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just there. I've been in the Dollar Tree or Dollar General, whatever. How do you defend against hatred? How do you defend against hate? How do you defend yourself against hate? We both have sons. How do you talk to them about this? Is such a random. That's just random. That's random. That's more random. It's random. I just went in. I was going to do it up at the school, but couldn't. And then I went to the Dollar General and
got the people who was there. But Coop, it was a Dollar General, but it was a church. It was a Walmart.
Yep.
It was a college. All of these things are random, and you're right. The mind then goes to, like you said, how do I protect myself? And the first thing you probably thinking is, I need to get a gun too. That's the only way I can protect myself. That's the only thing that then I'll have control over. And it's almost like, I don't even know if that's what they want. Because I actually feel if more black people got guns, you'd see gun control.
Yeah.
So it's that thing where we don't want you. We don't want no regulation on guns. No regulation on guns. Oh, black people getting guns? Where the regulations at?
That's right. I feel
like exactly right. Like that's what's going to happen. But until that, you then, yes, as a man, we brought up in this paternalistic society, our whole makeup, really, what we've been taught since we were kids, is we got to protect ourselves and protect our loved ones. And if you can't protect, then what kind of man are you? It's all that we've been given. and we've taken it in, and that's why I say, in a lot of ways, we've inhaled the white supremacy, and we believe it in a
Whew,
lot of ways. Yes,
inhaled it.
we've inhaled it, and we believe it, and we've been captured by it as well. So we have to understand that that's what's happening, and figure out what is the best thing to do for the community. Now, I personally don't think I need to buy a gun. I've seen statistics that say if guns are in your house, the probability of you using it jumps way up. So I've always been a little,
Yeah,
but I understand when people do it.
yeah, I own one, and then Sandra probably would talk more. I own one, and because the type of business that I have, I literally I had to pull it last week because I didn't know what this particular dog was going to do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In the neighborhood that I was in, a pit bull was loose, and he had broken this motorcycle chain. And I'm talking about the chain. The link was not just your leash; it wasn't even a leash, and he was loose. And I didn't know. And as I was working and the other worker working as well, I know what he's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've heard it on news, and pulls 4-year-old girl under a fence in malls. So he's out to kill. He doesn't have any intelligence. So I was, as you talked of, I was prepared to protect myself in that particular case. And then I don't know what the percentages are that it goes up because you have one in the house. I don't. About 6 years ago, out in Canton, they were kicking doors in.
Mm-hmm,
They were
mm-hmm.
breaking into your house. That means if you were there, they were kicking the door in
Mm-hmm.
and robbing you.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You live in the affluent, pretty
Mm-hmm.
affluent neighborhood as well. And if that is the case,
Yeah,
I
you
don't
got
know what choice you leave me. I don't know
right.
what choice you leave me. And I'm talking, and I've talked to my students about this, and even as educators, that when students come in, if a person was to come in this building and you heard, so as your teacher, I'm going to turn the lights off, put you all in the corner. We're going to turn the light and hide, and he's going to come in and shoot us all up. I totally talk about 48% of white men say they own a gun. Okay. 20% of white women, yes. 24% of non-white say they own a gun. Women of color reported the lowest rates of gun, and that's going to rise up. I believe, even as educators, with the way things are going on, I believe that with training, I think educators need to carry one, or at least carry one, and also have one in the room, meaning locked up somewhere. I'm not saying carry it on your hip, but
Yeah.
if Johnny is coming in the room and you heard and it getting closer,
Mm-hmm.
it's really becomes a situation of collateral damage. I gotta stop. You're not gonna kill us all.
Mm-hmm.
You may kill one or two with me now having a gun, or the teacher having a gun with some training, but we're sitting ducks as a person comes in the room, comes in the building, any building, and I teach at colleges and at our high schools. What are we to do, man? I
Well,
don't.
I understand that, and that's actually um a conservative talking point that they use. I get what they're saying on that, and I will understand them if they also said, but we should make these guns less available. They don't do that. They want everybody to have a gun, and it'd be basically the wild wild west out here. And I'm not trying to.
Sure.
That's why I don't think teachers, personally, if the society gets to the point where a teacher needs to own a gun, then we need to make bigger decisions as a community about people having guns. you should the answer to the question is not that you should have a gun. The answer to the question is all these other people should not be having guns. You shouldn't feel threatened enough where you need a gun. That's crazy. And so you have to, and that's another reason why I don't vote Republican, and I think everything that they do is kind of off. But is maybe the use of the word control is not the right one, but guns need to be controlled. There needs to be mandatory training. I agree with that.
Sure.
There needs to be I don't know if why do you need AR-15s? Why does anybody need one of those?
Because I'm hunting. I don't know. I mean, AR-15 it's an assault rifle.
Hunters don't hunt with AR-15s. that's not
so that AR-15 is to not kill animals. It's to kill people.
Yes, that's what it was made for.
I mean,
to tear people apart. Why would you, as a hunter, want to tear your
prey
down? You trying to eat that, or sell it, or whatever. The whole thing about AR-15s is stupid. They shouldn't be out there. And these kids, this kid was what? Was he 19?
21, I believe.
And
he's got 21.
And I think he has some kind of past of having some mental issues or something. These people shouldn't have guns like that. They really shouldn't. Something should be done where the teachers in our society don't feel like they need guns, and the students who those teachers teach should not feel threatened by
21
by guns when they're going to school. That whole thing is off. And I think if you normalize the idea that everybody needs to have a gun, or that when we go to school, we got to be prepared, we got to have a gun too, I think that's the death of this society, really. I don't see, that should not be the answer. That shouldn't be the answer.
Now I'll say this to you, and as a I'm a poppy of 3 beautiful granddaughters, and you've heard of Shady Hook and even of Columbine. Now you will have the opportunity, I'm sure, if the world lasts long enough, that you'll be a grandfather as well, that those students at Shady Hook, kindergartners, first graders. I had a kindergartner, my granddaughter just went to school, started today. And that person walked into school, bros, and shot and killed 18 people. Sandy Hook. Yeah, I said Shady Hook. Sandy Hook. This is what I'm talking about. 20 students. So you're telling me that if Miss such and such at least had some training and could go to a lockbox, could she prevent?
The argument makes sense. But then you're going to run into the issue of, do those individual teachers want to carry guns? Have access to guns like that? How about this, Coop? Do you want these white teachers in these urban centers to have guns?
You dropped your pencil on the floor. Bang, 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 bang. I felt threatened. I'm
saying, the stories. You done seen it all. You done heard the cops say it. So you think a teacher's going to react better? I just don't see it as a federal thing, as something that everybody's going to do. That's not the answer. The answer is the teacher should not feel threatened enough where they need a gun. They shouldn't feel that way. I mean, as a society, you are you're an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs who cut grass, do they need to, or people who own houses have to go to collect rent? I remember when my stepfather had to go collect rent. I just thought that was the stupidest thing. Like, have them send it, or like now everything is electronic. You can send your payments electronically and all that. But then you had to go and get it. And why do I have to feel so threatened that I got to carry and shoot you? I mean, come on. I don't want to be in that business. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. That's a different thing, because I'm carrying it, because if I'm coming to collect it, you may have another reason why when I'm collecting it. I'm here to rob you. You about to get cash from me? I'm about to rob you. So I gotta carry. Yeah. So and that person your step, I've had been with him a couple of times, he and Chuck, where I've seen them loading it up. Like, I'm going to collect some. So I understand. And my dad had to do the same thing. I've seen that. So it's just the threat is what you're talking about. I shouldn't have to feel threatened, but that's what we're feeling threatened.
That's what
I don't know
is.
what you're gonna do. I don't know a person. We're living in times where people are going into schools, people are going into Dollar Generals, people are going into churches. I don't know. Well, I can't call it, and I don't know.
I think you got to do what you got to do, and if you feel like that's the answer for you in the short run, that's why I say I understand the argument. I get it, but I don't think it should be normalized, and I don't think that's the answer. If that's the answer, then our society is sicker than we're letting on.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I am. And if you have people who are in politics, who make policy, who make laws, who are trying to make it so that there are no regulations on guns, but I think that's a problem. I think when you're trying to make it easier for me to get a gun and harder for me to vote,
wow,
that ain't the party for me. That's not the society I want to live in.
Perfect ending point. I'll go first, Jason. Let Bruce close us out, if you will. Yeah. This was my first week back to school. This last week was my first week. And my college students are exuberant. They're fertile for information, which means that they want it to grow. They want their information to grow. And I believe I have the responsibility to administer some of this information that I have. And it's a different time teaching. It's a different time trying to get across the belief that I have as a man, as a Black man. And I will say this to anybody, any Black man that you're even in the educational arena, that go for it. Go for what you have to get across. The information that you got to get across, don't hold back. Meaning, don't know what administration is going to say about when I say these things. It is your duty. You would be remiss if you did not give your students what it is that they need from a cultural standpoint and from your cultural standpoint. These things don't happen by accident. And some things that you're putting out there, the person that's receiving it somehow will get something from you. We talk about things, whether you're born racist or whether you're being taught. There's some Europeans in my class. A majority of them are Europeans this semester. A majority of them are European. And I'm thinking, I got to get it across even more. Not from a standpoint, I'm going to tell you what but I got to let you know what this black man is here to give you and the society we must live in ultimately together. I'm just saying.
So this week, I want to give shout outs to my three boys. Um, I don't know if you heard, maybe at the beginning, or maybe we were doing that off air. I have three boys. I have my youngest who just turned 16. He's a junior. And he had a really good year last year as far as academically. And as a man, I've tried to teach them certain things. And it's always good to see and to hear when it sounds like they've been listening to me and when things are starting to make sense. Growing into a man is not easy. Responsibility is not easy. Life is not easy. The politics of life is not easy. And to get to learn all that and try to figure it out, try to figure out life for yourself, for a black male, it's not hard. I'm not saying it's easy for anybody else, but I'm just saying from my perspective. So I want to give a shout out to my youngest as he continues his high school career, and my oldest, who is a senior now at Howard University. I think it is amazing that he's about to graduate. It's a crazy thing to see them from little guy to taller than you and grown and, becoming a man. And then a special shout out to my middle son, who I think did a very bold thing this year. I've raised all of them to want to go to Howard, but last year he went to Hampton. My middle son went to Hampton, enjoyed himself, and I felt good about leaving him there. I thought it was a good thing. But this year he made the decision to transfer to Howard, and that wasn't the easiest thing to do. Leaving friends, people that you've grown to really like and admire, to start all over again. But to go to the school that you wanted to go to originally, it was heartening to see him do that. And, I'm wishing them all the best. I'm just saying.